He's getting older.
Everybody has affinity for coffee.
Oh, hit the full one.
But not wiser.
He's got AIDS.
This is the Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lefty Show, episode number 17. Holy damn shit, we're already at, hot damn, already at episode number 17 of the Lefty Show. Thank you all for joining me. Glad to be here. Hope to put on a great show for you today for the next hour or thereabouts. Thank you to everybody that's been liking, watching, and favoriting, and subscribing on YouTube. You guys are helping the podcast grow via that means, and I greatly appreciate it. And I thank you all for continuing to do so. And thank you to everybody that's also been sharing the podcast with your friends, family, and perhaps even your coworkers. It does greatly help me out, and I greatly appreciate it. And I thank you again for continuing to do that. That is how the nice grassroots campaign to keep the podcast growing, keep that arrow pointed up for a multiple times a week, pretty much daily at this point podcast. I didn't expect that to happen on the outset. I had the idea that I would like to do something multiple times a week, but I did not essentially, or really I did not plan on a multiple or on a almost daily kind of thing. It's just like a radio gig, except I'm only doing an hour and it's a one-man show and there are no breaks and I have no producers and there's no phone calls. Phone calls would be cool. Got to figure out how to do that. That'd be, get a line somehow. I don't know, because you'd have to screen calls in some way. I mean, I could just have people hang on the line for a while as a way to screen calls, but I don't know. Got to figure out how to do that. Got to make a note. Hold on, make a note. Figure out how to do phone calls. We can figure out how to do that. That'd be something that would be really cool. I think maybe take calls. I don't know. People leave voicemails or something. Taking calls, I think, would be cool. But anyway, thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show with your friends and family. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that's been donating at imraising.com/643productions. imraising.com, baby, is where you go if you want to help out the Lefty Show. There's a link in the description. Go ahead and click on that. And every generous donation is greatly appreciated. Really, I thank you all for helping out with hosting costs, studio costs, and just general expenses. And I thank you all for helping out, excuse me, in that way. imraising.com/643productions. Again, there is a link in the description, and I thank everybody that has been donating and whatnot thus far. You help out the show. It's great, and I really appreciate it. Now, there's a lot we got to get to today, but I just want to take a moment to... I discovered last night having whiskey on the rocks. It's the first time, believe it or not, that I've ever had it. I mean, doing shots of whiskey, well, not everybody, but anybody with drinking experience has probably done shots of whiskey. But not wanting to drink to get drunk, I figured I would try out whiskey on the rocks. I've got a little of my favorite Jack Daniel's honey, and it's the honey-flavored stuff. And I got a little Tom Collins glass. I put some ice in it, and I just poured the whiskey in there. And that is an amazing drink that I feel shamed. I feel bad that I have deprived myself from this awesomeness, from this amazingness. And not just Jack Daniel's on the rocks, but now any scotch, any whiskey or bourbon on the rocks, I am so excited to have. I am so excited to try. I'm going to go out and get myself some Johnny Black or maybe Johnny Blue if you donate enough. You have a little Johnny Blue, put that bitch on ice, and bam, there we go. We've got amazingness, and it was a great experience because to be perfectly honest, the reason I didn't do it is because I was scared, not of getting too drunk or something like that. And I was scared of that I wouldn't enjoy the taste because I have always been since college when I started drinking. I didn't drink at all in high school. When I started drinking in college, I mixed all the hard alcohol. You had to mix it. And that kind of continued onward and upward as I got older. And now I'm at a point where I'm forced to get kind of the better stuff because I'm getting older and I can't drink cheap whiskey and then wake up the next day like with spring in my step like I could when I was 20 years old. I just can't. I'm getting older and for whatever reason it's just not working out that way anymore. So I've got to go with a little higher shelf stuff. Jack Daniels is perfectly fine, but that antiquity of always having to mix it kind of stayed with me because I figured, oh man, well, you can't do it because here's the reason. When you're in college, unless you're a rich kid, unless you're a really rich kid, but even then, you're probably prone to drink what everybody else is drinking. You're not going to be the only kid drinking Bud Select or some craft beer when everybody else is drinking Natty Light. Everybody else is drinking Keystone. You're going to be drinking Keystone too. You're not going to be like, oh no, I've got to have my Leinenkugels. Don't you come at me with that Keystone Light. Don't you? I've got to have my Grey Goose. Get out of here with your let's see, what's a low brand of vodka? Get out of here with your Burnett's or your Skull vodka. Get out of here. I've got my Grey Goose. I've got my Stoli. And you can drink that cheap shit. That's probably not going to happen. You're going to drink what everybody else drinks. And in college, which is where a lot of alcohol experimentation happens. And really, one of the most important things you can do in college is experiment with alcohol and experiment with that nightlife. That is one of probably the greatest lessons taught in college that isn't taught really in a classroom, unless there's some drinking class that I'm unaware of. When I went to college, there was a wine tasting class. They had like a 3-year waiting list. It was all seniors who just wanted to go wine tasting like once a week. It was crazy. But I don't think there's a class about getting drunk and socializing with people. And I think that's one of the greatest things you can do in college that isn't academic related. Hell, it might outshine some of the academic stuff you study, right? Who gives a shit about Native American history or Native American studies? Who really gives a shit about that? I mean, honestly, in some of the electives that you can take, who really cares? There's some crazy electives that I took that it was just like, oh my God, really? You can tell it's a crazy elective if there are athletes in your class. If there are college athletes, if you go to a university and whatever the prominent sport is, if there are athletes in that class with you, you're probably in a bullshit elective that you can just coast through and get an easy A. And I took 1 or 2 of those. And, but anyway, the actual act of experimenting with alcohol, learning your limits, learning your likes and dislikes, and also learning how to function, learning how to be a social animal in that setting when you go out to a bar and you're with your friends and you're trying to, whether it be a sexual relationship or you just want to you just want to make friends or hang out with your friends and have a good time, it's an important skill to have. The ability to go out and understand your limits or show your buddies a good time. You say, look, guys, I'm paying for the drinks tonight. You're going to have a good time on my dime, or, I got the next round. Learning those social intricacies is an invaluable skill set to have, because when you enter the working world, whether you're digging ditches for 10 hours a day, and then you're going out for beers with your other manual labor friends, or you're entertaining clients and you're on an expense account and you've got to go entertain clients so they'll sign a new contract with your firm, the firm you represent or the firm you start. Through the entire spectrum, there's a social aspect to being in the workforce. There is. You can, it's anything you want, whether it's vocational, whether you are a professional. The I get paid for my my prowess in this field professional, or I have an ethics board that I report to and has oversight on me professional. Both kinds. We got both kinds, country and Western. There is a social aspect to it. I mean, there is the technical knowledge that you need, whether to dig ditches or to weld or to fix cars or to do somebody's taxes or to cut somebody open and then sew them back up again. all those things, you require that technical knowledge, and that's special to your field. But everybody needs to be able to go out. Everybody should have that skill to go out with their friends and have a beer, go out with their coworkers, go out with their clients, go out with their boss. Excuse me. Go out with their boss and have a beer. It's important. It's really important to be able to do that. But and in college, that is something that you learn or something that you can learn very quickly. Some people treat it like, it's just a party. You go party. But I treated it more as, okay, I'm learning how to go out and be sociable. I'm learning how to go out with people and have a good time and not make a fool of myself, but show them a good time and make it more likely that they'll want to do that again and again and again, et cetera, et cetera. And even though in college the end game isn't really anything, the end game is pussy or the end game is cock, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If the end game is sex, fine. But the skill set you learn in achieving that superficial ends will help you when you get your degree, or if you get your degree and you go out and you enter the workforce. And then at some point you are going to have a beer with your buddies. You are going to have to, you are going to go out with your boss. You are going to go to dinner and you're going to be sitting at a bar with your boss or your boss's boss or something. And it's a tool, and drinking to get drunk or drinking to be sociable, all those things. Experience and experimenting with alcohol is an important, not really. It's one thing that you do in college that you don't really think about, but I think is tremendously undervalued in terms of what you're able to do. And the reason this all ties into talking about Whiskey on the Rocks is because in college you're drinking shitty stuff. You're going out and you're drinking Keystone Light. You're drinking Natty Light. And you're doing it not to be, not because you like the taste probably, but because you want to get drunk. That's the whole point. You're experimenting with alcohol and you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. I don't condone underage drinking, but facts are facts. That's where a lot of people do their alcohol experimentation when they're not 21. You're going and you've got the liver to do it. Go for it. You go and you get drunk. And in college, everybody's drinking Natty Light. You're getting pictures of Keystone. You're not getting pictures of even Miller Lite. You're not getting a picture of some craft beer. You're getting pictures of shit. Not literal shit, but pretty much close to like goat piss kind of shit is what you're getting in terms of college when you go with beer. And when you go with hard liquor in college, the bar is set so low for what is considered good. Skull is still Skull vodka, very cheap. If your hard liquor comes in a plastic bottle, you probably can do a little bit better. If you are out of college, over the age of 25 and gainfully employed, and your liquor comes in a plastic bottle, it's time to step up your game and do something else. You got step up to the big leagues, get yourself a glass bottle. Even Evan Williams comes in a glass bottle. At least it used to. I don't know if it does anymore. But in college, when you go out and you're drinking and you get mixed drinks, you have to get mixed drinks. You're not putting Evan Williams, a shitty low grade whiskey, you're not putting that on the rocks. You're not drinking it neat. You'll do shots, but that's because it's over and done, and you've got a chaser with it. And when you get a vodka drink or when you get rum, they're all cheap stuff. In college, the well drinks are just awful. They're the lowest grade liquor there is. And what passes for top shelf, usually in college towns, is what is normal outside, what is considered normal outside of a college setting. And so when you are experimenting with college, you can't help but learn, I need to mix this alcohol with something else. Otherwise, it's going to be awful. It's just going to taste like shit. And I'm going to, whether I'm not going to like the taste and I'm going to puke or I just don't like the taste, you've got to mix it. It harkens back to, the story goes that the reason mixed drinks became popular in the first place was during the Prohibition, when bootleggers would make hard alcohol in their bathtubs, they wouldn't have experience in filtering out the impurities and imperfections in their booze. And so they were selling bottles of scotch that were awful. They tasted awful. They had impurities in them, and it was just bad. But it was part alcohol that got you fucked up. And people were like, screw it, I'll take it. But they couldn't drink it neat. They couldn't drink it straight on the rocks. They had to mix it in with other things, whether it be cola or tea is something a lot of people used. And that was a product of the liquor being extremely low quality. Now, when you're in college, you still low quality liquor, but it's probably miles and miles ahead of what people were making in their bathtubs in the Prohibition era. But still, low grade, while it may be much better than what was made in a bathtub in Prohibition, is still awful. And it still is shit. And so you mix it. And you mix it, and you mix it, and you mix it, and you learn until when you get out of college and you probably got a little bit more money and you spend a little bit more on your booze, you realize, oh man, you've learned this act of mixing drinks. And yesterday I shed that cocoon of noobishness, and I had Jack Daniels on the rocks. And it was absolutely fantastic. And that's probably my new drink of choice, which is great because now I don't have to spend money on mixers. Now I can just even possibly spend a little bit more money on booze, and it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait. And what time is it? It's too early to have one. So, but it's nice to finally, expand in one's, I don't want to say drinking prowess because that just sounds dumb, but expand one's palate, let's say. And it's a new world that I've entered into, and I'm excited to kind of jump around and see what we're doing and see what all there is to offer. So when you're in college, a lot of people say, don't party and you're partying, that's bad. And I'm not trying to give you fodder for an excuse so that you can say, no, I'm just learning to network, Dad. What up, man? But there is something to experimenting with alcohol, learning your limits, learning your likes and dislikes, and learning to function in a social setting that includes alcohol. Because when you go out into the world, it's everywhere. In high school, probably alcohol wasn't a big part of your social gatherings. In college, it becomes a big part of your social gatherings because you're mixing people who are able to legally buy alcohol with people who can't, but who probably want to experiment. And so you start learning what it's like to be in a social setting that has alcohol. And you'll have nights where you have too much, where you just have way too much, and it just hits you like a fucking bulldozer, and you have no idea what to do. Or you can't even function, and somebody's got to take you home. And that's a night where you chalk it up and say, whoops, all right, that's something I can't do. Because in the real world, if I'm taking clients out from Japan, I can't be getting shit-faced in front of them. I should learn how to pace myself, or how my body reacts during, given different starting times of drinking and different starting points of my metabolism and all this stuff. And so while it's not like it's on par with your degree, it is a very nice social tool that not a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about, because they're all wrapped up in the partying. But what you are really able to learn is how to be social while you have a drink in your hand. And that's an important skill set to have when you enter the real world. So let's get into a little Would You Rather before we hop into some news, as is what we normally do, our normal MO here at The Lefty Show. This is from yourather.com, place to go if you want to answer You Rather questions, or Would You Rather. Would you rather toilet paper a house or egg a house? Now, that's simple. You got to TP a house. Egging a house is criminal shit. Egging a house, because you're going to break something or you're going to degrade the paint, and painting a house is fucking expensive, and you are going to mess somebody's shit up when you egg a house. And that it quickly goes from prank to criminal act. You think you're being funny, but you're really just damaging somebody's property, and it's not that funny. Same thing with egging a car. Egging a car is a criminal act for a reason. And a lot of people see it as criminal, and you can get arrested for it. Some people still think, some jackasses still think they're being funny. Oh, I'm going to egg your car, bro. But you're just being a dick because you're fucking with that person's property. And you're going to make them spend a whole lot of money to fix the damage that you caused. Whereas when you toilet paper a house, you are pranking somebody. Technically speaking, yes, it is a criminal act, but odds are the difference in odds between doing damage to property from egging a house to TPing a house is completely different. You get TP you get a little TP in your gutters, fine. So it overflows, and you've got wet spots in your lawn, and okay, whatever. Not that big of a deal. You've got TP on the tree. You grab what you can, you take it down, and then you let the wind and the rain in the following weeks, it takes it away. And it's not nearly as, while I guess again technically criminal, it's not nearly as criminal, much more prankish than it is criminal. Whereas egging a house is much more criminal than it is being a prank. When you egg a house, you're just being a jagoff because you probably didn't even stop to think that you're going to, because we're assuming here that it's a prank. If it's like, hey, man, let's fuck with old man Jones, well, then you're just being a jackass and you are a criminal. But if it's a prank, like let's prank the buddy on the baseball team, don't egg his house. Or her house, if she's on the softball team, or whatever. Don't egg a house as a prank because there's a good chance that it goes from prank to criminal. If you want to prank somebody and you just want it to be a prank and you've got, eggs or TP, go with TPing. Plus, you get a lot more of it for a lot less money. You go out and you buy a couple dozen eggs, what are you looking at, man? You go to Sam's Club or Costco, $5 or $10, you get a big-ass thing of toilet paper, and you've got fun for hours. Egg a house, what do you get? You get the jumbo 24-size eggs thing for like what? $6 a pop? So you get 3 or 4 of those. Then you're done in like 10 minutes. You spent $20 to $30 to have, I don't know, 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes of fun. Oh, and by the way, criminal damage to property. Whereas you spend $10 for a bunch of TP, and you've got, probably a good 30 to 40 minutes of throwing those motherfuckers around, and nobody's going to get hurt. Nobody's property is going to be really damaged to the point where they could reasonably be pissed off by it. And everybody kind of has a good time. And they get that moment of, they walk out in the morning and, okay, you got me. So toilet paper a house. Don't be a jag-off. If you egg somebody's house, you're a criminal. Don't be a douchebag. As we're going through Would You Rather, here's a good Would You Rather. Would you rather soil yourself and have nobody know, or not soil yourself, but everyone thinks you did? So if I'm walking around town and everybody thinks I've got a load in my pants, is that better or worse than actually walking around town with a load in my pants? I've got to say that I would rather not soil myself and have just people, man, did you shit your pants? I can say, no. Say, well, I think you did. Well, I didn't. Let's move on to other things because, I'm not willing, I'm not that vain that I don't need to, I'm like, oh man, at least I'm walking around with a huge turd in my pants. Okay? Huge turd. Smelly, maybe a little bit runny. It's just, oh my goodness. And I don't think that I would honestly think I've got this huge ass turd in my pants, this literal ass turd in my pants.
He's got AIDS.
And oh my God, I'm walking around. You got to do that waddle thing. You can't sit down. You hope it's not runny. Oh my God, it's all over at least nobody thinks that I shit myself. I've shit myself. I've actually shit myself. And I've got to deal with all the things, all those ramifications. But thank God nobody else thinks that I shit myself. I would much rather, dude, did you shit yourself? Nope. Because as somebody who shit myself, I have done it, not proud of it. I'll digress and tell that story. So it was college. I was, I think it was my sophomore or junior year. I can't remember. I was preparing for an exam, and I don't think it was a final exam. I think it was just, I think it was fall turning to winter maybe. And I was smoking cigarettes at the time. And throughout the day, I had felt kind of off. And I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't tell what it was, but I knew that I had an exam coming up, and so I got to study for it. And so I'm studying, and I go out to take a cigarette break and to just, let my mind shift into neutral for a bit. And I was smoking a cigarette. I was about halfway done with it, and I remember this very vividly. And, excuse me, I felt a fart coming. I felt one brewing. I said, okay, I'm about halfway done with this cigarette. I'm going to fart, and I'm outside, so it's kind of windy, so it's just gonna blow away from me and finish the cig, and then go back after this stress relief and go back to getting to study. And I was, you do that thing where you prepare yourself for the fart. Guys do this a lot. I don't know if girls will admit they fart enough to say that, yeah, they do it. You prepare yourself just a little bit for a fart that's coming. Whatever your starting position is, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, laying down, whatever. When you're standing, for me, it's you kind of put your butt out a little bit. You properly align the exit channel for the fart so that it's unimpeded from your intestines to your rectum, to your anus, and out the back door. And I kind of, you kind of do that. You push your hips back a little bit and your ass out to, kind of get that stuff in line. You're like one of those dinosaurs that's got the thick bony mass on top of their head.
Bonerama!
And they lower their head to properly align it with their spine, and when they run it into you, I don't know, I guess it doesn't fuck up their spine or something. And so I get into it's working its way down. I can feel it's ready to come out. Its incubation period has passed. And so I get into the fart position and I let loose. Well, what I let loose wasn't a fart. It was not a fart that was working its way out. And I'll spare you the gooey details, but it was not a fart. And I had to finish that cigarette with a partial load in my pants, and I was not happy about it. And I realized, oh man, I'm getting sick. And sure enough, that night I got slight fevers and chills. It went away by the time my exam started, and I think I did well on it. Who knows? I forget what class it was for. But at no time after my fart turned out to be not a fart did I think, oh man, I've got this shit in my pants. I've got shit in my pants. I just really hope nobody knows that I got shit in my pants. I didn't care. My number one priority was get this shit out of my pants. And I need to take a shower. And I need to change underwear. But at no time did I think, okay, here's what we got to do. You got to sneak your way back through where you get to the shower, get to your room, and just surreptitiously if anybody asks, say, oh man, I just need a shower to think about things. Don't ever let on that you've got turd in your pants. Don't ever do that. No, I didn't care. If somebody came, oh, why are you walking funny? Because I got shit in my pants because I'm getting sick and I thought it was a fart and I got burned. I got a burn notice and it's in my pants right now. You want to see it? My number one priority was getting that shit out of my pants, getting it away from my ass, getting it away from my clean pants. They weren't clean anymore because, fuck it, burn that shit too. Get rid of it. But at no point did I ever think, what I need to do right now is to obscure the fact that I've got shit in my pants. So here's a great would you rather as we move on to the next one. So anyway, I would rather not have actual shit in my pants and have allow people to ask, did you shit yourself? And I'll just say no. Here it is. Oh, this is perfect. When you rack up a new toilet paper roll, would you rather have it facing the wall, have it facing away from the wall? Here's something we all need to do. We as a society this is a rule. This is now law. A moral code, a part of our moral code that we should all adhere to. When you are putting in the standard toilet paper roll scenario, in which there's the two mounts hanging off of the cabinet or the wall or the whatever, and a single toilet paper roll, run parallel between them on obviously on a roller. Here's the thing: the end. The little end that's dangling needs to go over the top. It needs to be hanging away from the wall. One toilet paper roll width away from the wall. Not flush against the wall. Okay? The flap needs to go over the top and be away from the wall. Not the other way around, flat with the wall. And here's my reasoning for that. Here's my theory. People shit in there. People piss and they shit. Piss doesn't really matter. Shitting and farting are my big two. The big two. Here's the deal. They say that when you take a dump, this is the poop episode apparently. When you go to the bathroom and you take a shit or leave a shit, when you're done and you're done doing all the stuff and you stand up, it's good practice, everybody says, to close the lid before you flush the toilet. Now, I don't adhere to this because I need to make sure that vial, that bowl of villainy leaves this earth. I need to know that it leaves this plane of existence. I need to observe it, and I need to have confirmation that it is gone. Because too many times I've been fooled by a flush where it says, nope. But when you leave it open, they say there's a lot of fecal matter that, by the very nature of the churning of the water, gets tossed up. It's microbial in size, but it gets tossed up into the air and strewn about. And what happens is, in my little theory, is that little, on the molecular scale, those little pieces of shit that get tossed up and strewn about the room are going to land on places. They're going to land on surfaces. Most importantly, they're going to land near where the toilet paper roll is. And they're going to land on the biggest surface there is, which is the wall. So when you have the toilet paper and the end is flush against the wall, what you're doing is you're it's like you're inoculating the toilet paper against shit. You're putting the toilet paper flush against a wall that has years upon years. Because when's the last time you washed your bathroom walls? Not the shower walls. I'm talking about the walls, the dry walls in the bathroom that have paint or some kind of wallpaper on them. When's the last time you washed those walls? Fucking exactly. It's got that long of microscopic accumulation of shit on that wall, and you're putting the toilet paper flush against that wall. And it's silly. You've got to put the toilet paper completely over the top. So it's got to be facing the wall. Have it facing the wall, or have it facing away from the wall, not have it facing the wall, because that's just you're putting shit on it, and it's already got enough to do. It's already going to have plenty of shit on it. We don't need to have it ruined by putting it against a shit surface before you even touch it. All right, here's one last question. We'll wrap it up. We'll get into a little news. Would you rather win a one-day shopping spree to any store or win a 2-week vacation to any destination? Well, that's easy. Win a one-day shopping spree to any store. I pick a store. I'm going there and I'm taking a bunch of shit. I'm taking a lot of things. There's a lot of places now that have expanded electronic centers, and they've got groceries, and they've got all kinds of things. And they've got a whole lot of things that would make my life easier. And I don't need a 2-week vacation to Fiji. I don't want to go to Fiji. I don't care about Fiji. Fiji can go fuck itself for all I care. I do not care about a 2-week destination trip. I just don't. I don't want to go to Fiji. I don't want to go to Greece. I don't want any of that. You can keep it. They got shitty internet, and I'm scared about being abducted, and there's bugs, and no. Fuck it. Give me a one-day shopping spree. Whatever I can fit in my car, I am fitting everything. I'm getting brand new televisions, laptop computers, cameras, phones. If they've got clothes, if they sell nice clothes there, if they've got nice toiletries, new cabinets for new furniture, all this kind of stuff, I'm getting it. I'm bringing a cube truck, and I am refurnishing my domicile, and I am getting brand new electronics that even if I don't need, I can sell on eBay and still make a little cash and use that to buy other things. I don't need to go to Fiji. I don't want to go to Fiji. Fiji can go fuck itself. All right, let's do a little news. Oh, yeah, I got a lot to talk about today. Donald Sterling back in the news. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Atheism and how the American people would view an atheist presidential candidate. Here's a hint. It's not good. Autism and vaccinations. We got a little bit to talk about that. Jenny McCarthy, you stupid cunt. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I got to say. That's as far as it needs to go. Well, anyway, this is the news. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. All right, so Donald Sterling, those of you who don't know, the much maligned owner, current owner, soon to be former owner of the NBA. The NBA has officially issued on Monday. They officially issued a charge or initiated a charge. This is from CNN.com. Steve Almazy. I'll read it for you. Quote, Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling has until May 27th to respond to the National Basketball Association, which on Monday initiated a charge seeking to terminate all ownership rights in the franchise, the NBA announced in a written statement. Sterling, who owns the team with his wife Shelley through a family trust, will also be allowed to make a presentation at a special Board of Governors meeting scheduled for June 3rd. However, attorney Maxwell Blecker has demanded on behalf of Sterling that the NBA give the longtime owner a 3-month extension to prepare his response, Sports Illustrated reported Monday night. The magazine, which like CNN is owned by Time Warner, said the NBA would reject the request. A receptionist at Blecker's office told CNN she had been advised to give a no comment to all media inquiries involving Donald Sterling. The NBA declined to comment on the Sports Illustrated report. In order to terminate the Sterling's franchise rights, 75% or 23 of the 30 team owners would have to vote to sustain the charge and force a sale. Because Sterling is banned from any NBA activities, he is not allowed to vote, but the Clippers will have a vote, the NBA said. NBA bylaws say that if Sterling doesn't respond in 5 business days or appear at a hearing, it will be deemed an admission to the total validity of the charge. If the owner does appear, he may be represented by a lawyer, but the NBA Constitution says, quote, strict rules of evidence shall not apply, and all relevant and material evidence submitted prior to and at the hearing may be received and considered. The 80-year-old lawyer and billionaire real estate investor is already fighting a $2.5 million fine and a lifetime ban imposed by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. The longtime owner has argued he has been denied due process, and on and on and on. So Donald Sterling, it's come to roost now. This isn't we are now in the nitty-gritty here, where within 5 days, Donald Sterling must respond, and perhaps the NBA is not going to give that 3-month extension. Donald Sterling is quite possibly going to be ousted as the owner of the Clippers within the month, which, that's in a society where the wheels of justice turn so slowly. I listen to the Adam Carolla podcast, and he talks a lot about his fight with the patent trolls that are suing him, saying that they own podcasting, and Carolla is infringing on their patent, among with a few other podcasters. And he says that it's going so slowly. Attorneys are paid by the hour, and he's got to cut hundreds of thousands of dollars in checks to pay these attorneys, and he just wants it to go. He just wants it to happen. And it's in some cases, the wheels of justice, whether it be a criminal proceeding or a civil proceeding or whatever, there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of space in between this and that and the other thing. But here, my bloodlust aside, it's nice to see that the NBA is just like, nope, we're fucking going, man. This is it. This is not us playing around. We are not going to say we are going to remove you and fine you and you're banned from the NBA, and then it's going to be years and years in court. We're doing it now. It's happening now. Get your shit together, Donald Sterling. Let's go. And you got to commend Adam Silver in the NBA for that. Despite what I think personally about Donald Sterling and how, again, it's probably all in the legal up and up, given the NBA bylaws and everything that Donald Sterling agreed to as when he became a franchisee of the NBA, when he bought the Clippers basketball club and entered it into the NBA as a franchise. Everything he agreed to, probably on the up and up, in terms of they can force a sale, all these things. But I believe that it's morally wrong to chastise this man, to oust him simply for his inner thoughts as they were captured and probably leaked by V. Stiviano, because they were inner thoughts. And it was a romantic confidant with whom he was sharing these backwards, stupid views, but they were still his inner thoughts. And what we are essentially doing when you do this is you are punishing him for his inner thoughts, despite being, easy peasy on the legal front, despite being on the up and up. Sure, I will not deny that, and I am not in a position to deny that. But from a moral sense, not a legal sense, a moral sense, it just seems wrong to punish somebody so severely, to punish somebody at all for their inner thoughts. If you want to punish Donald Sterling, punish him for actually committing racism, which he has done. Punish him for that. Don't punish him for his inner thoughts. But all that aside, all that moral ambiguity and immoral ousting of somebody for their inner thoughts aside, props to Adam Silver. Said, fuck it, we're going. We're doing this right now, and it's commendable to see that. It's good to see because, shit, I got stuff to talk about now. But it's good to see that, man, this isn't... You want to take us to court, fine, but we are going to do everything we can right now before you sue us. And Donald Sterling is going to sue them. And his wife, who is a part owner, a silent partner in the ownership of the Clippers through the Sterling Family Trust, she's going to have something to say about her ownership rights because the NBA wants to remove her too. But it's going to be great when she says, you are taking property away from me because my husband is a racist? No, I'm going to sue the shit out of you, the NBA. And I hope she does. It's going to be amazing to watch. But here's the thing about Donald Sterling. A week ago, he gave an interview with Anderson Cooper. And, I'll just play it. This is from CNN, CNN.com. This is the audio. I'm not showing the video. This is reporting on the news, fair use, all that stuff. I'm probably going to get content ID matched by this anyway, but fuck it. I'll go to bat with YouTube on a fair use charge over this. This is Donald Sterling talking to Anderson Cooper on CNN. All rights owned by CNN, etc. Here we go. This is Donald Sterling.
You not to say anything?
Yeah, don't do anything. I know the girl. Don't do anything. I'll help you.
Talking about Magic
I'm
Johnson.
Waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting.
What you're saying is Magic Johnson called you up, or you called him up?
I don't know his phone number.
He called
me.
you up
Yeah.
when the tape broke.
I don't call anybody.
He called you
I'm
up.
loyal to you.
He called you up when the tape came out, and he told you not to say anything? Or
Yeah.
something? Why did he say don't say anything?
He just said, wait, be patient, I'll help you, we'll work it out.
Hello
Why do you
there.
think he said that?
I think he wanted me to just do nothing so he could buy the team. He thought maybe the whole thing would be resolved in 2 weeks.
Huh?
Well, what has he done? Can you tell me?
Scoozy.
Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Well, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS. Did he do any
Huh?
business? Did he help anybody in South L.A.?
Well, I think he has HIV. He doesn't actually have full-blown AIDS.
Well, what kind of a guy goes to every city, has sex with every girl, then he catches HIV? And
Everybody
is that
has
someone
affinity
we
for
wanna,
cock.
Respect and tell our kids about? I think he should be ashamed of himself. I think he should go into the background. But what does he do for the black people? Doesn't do anything. You call up and say,
That was Donald Sterling. I'm going to cut it there. I don't know how fair use doesn't apply. I can't play the whole thing, I don't think. But that's Donald Sterling talking to Anderson Cooper on AC360, the exclusive there. You can find it on CNN.com. But this was a week ago, and Donald Sterling. I got to hear that again.
he's got AIDS.
What has he done?
He's got AIDS.
Well, he's got AIDS. Here's the thing. You know, I talked about it with with Justin Bieber, and it's obviously extending to Donald Sterling. Do these people have no concept of public relations, like at all? I do. There are people. There are highly paid public relations experts. People who have studied the business, who have been in the business, and have experience and all these things, and they get highly paid to formulate a message, to control the message, and to make sure that their clients do not fuck themselves royally, right? I'm not one of those people. I'm just an idiot, okay? But even I have enough sense to think, Jesus Christ, Donald Sterling, you idiot. Don't go on to CNN and tell Anderson Cooper that Magic Johnson is a piece of shit because...
He's got AIDS.
Don't do that. What are you doing? Stop it. You're a crazy 80-year-old man. You have no idea what you're talking about. You contradict yourself constantly. You go off on non sequiturs. You know, it's like you're listening to one of my podcasts with how crazy you go off on tangents. You don't know what you're talking about half the time. And you talk to Anderson Cooper, you completely forget that Anderson Cooper is a homosexual, and you start talking about how Anderson Cooper gets jealous over women, and you completely you shoot yourself in the foot. You're running out of toes. You shoot yourself in the foot so many times. Stop. Dude, does nobody in the public eye do they not have the foresight to hire somebody and say, look, here's the deal. I'm an idiot. I'm going to hire you to tell me what to say when shit hits the fan. Shit's not hitting the fan right now, but if at some point it does, I want you to be there to whisper in my ear. I want you to be that little angel on my shoulder that just whispers in my ear, here's what you say, Donald Sterling. Don't say a fucking thing, because when you open your mouth, you can't help but say stupid and sensitive things, both about homosexuals and minorities. And you come off as a curmudgeon-y Jew who you're just a racist curmudgeon-y Jew. And it's just stop talking. Speak only through attorneys. And do nothing else. Certainly do not go on live television and say...
He's got AIDS.
Just don't do that. Does nobody have that? Where is that for Donald Sterling? The guy's a billionaire. And he's obviously retained counsel. He's probably has a team of attorneys. Not just one guy. He's got a team of attorneys. Do those attorneys not have his cell phone number? Because apparently Donald Sterling doesn't have anybody's cell phone number. I don't know his number. I don't know. I'm just an old man.
He's got AIDS.
And he's got AIDS. He's got AIDS. What are you going to do? Does nobody... Eugene would probably love him. Eugene would fucking love this guy. Huh? Who am I going to love? Oh, God, fuck. He's back. Donald Sterling. Oh man, we went to the same shul. We're good. Me and Donald Sterling. I'll talk to him. Oh, so you'll be his PR guy? Yeah, I'll be his PR guy. We'll talk all the time. I'll tell him, you can't talk that way about the blacks. Okay, that's good. Yeah, the coloreds, they get all upset. Whoa, Eugene, what? Huh? I didn't say nothing wrong. The coloreds, they get angry about stuff. Stop saying that. What are you doing? Stop it. Come on, that's insensitive. You can't refer to minorities as the coloreds. But that's descriptive. I mean, you're colored too. Do you know that, Eugene? Oh, don't you say that about, no, man, look at your skin. You're not actually white, are you? No, you got a little peach going on there, brother. Actually, a little bit of yellow spots. You probably got some disease that you're working on over there. What do you got? You got some liver disease or something? Yeah, I used to hit the booze. I came back from Korea, and now you're in Korean War, huh? Yeah, I killed me a lot of chicks. God fucking damn it, Eugene. Stop it. What? I don't know. I came back, and it was the terribleness of the war. I did a lot of drinking. I bought a lot of hooch from the mix down on... Dude, Eugene, okay? Now you don't even go down that road. Because those people have, what are you talking about? They sell good scotch over there. And I would hit it too hard, and now I got some liver problems, and I got spots on my skin as a result. Well, thank you, Eugene. So you're going to let's get it back on point here. You're going to tell Donald Sterling to shut the fuck up. Yeah, he's given the old Jewish man a bad name when he can't stop talking about racist things and talking about Magic Johnson because he probably stuck his dick in a dude and he got the the AIDS. Come on, Eugene. HIV and AIDS is not a strictly homosexual disease, okay? And yeah, you called it GRIDS, gay-related immune deficiency syndrome. That's wrong. We had that wrong in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s when we thought it was a strictly homosexual thing. It's not. Magic Johnson isn't a homosexual. You think? The guy was running around town in the 80s and 90s banging everything with a vagina. No, how would he get it from a dude? Because he stuck his dick in a dude? Yeah, but how can you substantiate that Magic Johnson was secretly a homosexual? What evidence do you have? That he's got AIDS. No, that's not. First of all, he doesn't even have AIDS. He's got HIV, and it has not turned into AIDS yet. Probably because he's got millions of dollars. See, that's my point. He likes dick. You said it. You got even a drop here. Where is it? Oh, there we got the. Don't touch my board, Eugene. No, you fucking dick. Show you. I'm gonna hit it. There it is. Which one is it?
Cut that bitch out!
Yeah, see? There you go. No, that was the wrong one. Oh, shit. Stop fucking... You best... Fuck you, man! Let me touch it. No, stop touching it. Oh, that sounds so wrong. Eugene, get the fuck out of here. Everybody has affinity for cock. There it is. Oh, yeah, see? You said it yourself. There you go, Magic Johnson. You know what, Eugene? You know what? Just go back out of here. Just get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? I gotta go. Go somewhere else. Go sweep the floor somewhere else. You're not needed in here. We're recording. You fucking asshole. Fuck you too, Eugene. God, how have I not fired you yet? You're just a racist bastard. The Collins. Shut up! Jesus. I'm sorry about that. Eugene just gets a little, well, for lack of a better term, uppity. And he can't be handled like that. So anyway, does Donald Sterling have nobody like that in his ear saying, Donald, man, don't go talking to Anderson Cooper? Because this has got to be Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling is not putting on a character of stupid. That would seem to just be completely illogical. Usually, when you've got a scumbag, they put up the facade of, I'm not a scumbag. I'm a great politician. I've helped out so many people. I help out minorities in my in my constituents all the time. I'm not a scumbag. These are baseless allegations. I don't know what you're talking about. They go the way they're supposed to go. They make themselves look better. Donald Sterling is not doing that. Donald Sterling is not putting on a character of I don't know what. I mean, those are my inner thoughts, and I explained it, and she likes black guys, and I just asked her, don't bring your boyfriends who happen to be black to games. Don't bring them to games because, I don't want people getting the idea that I'm weak and you're sleeping around on me. Just don't do it, please. And that's it. And she spun it into a racial thing, and everybody else, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not what he's doing. He's not putting on that character. He's not making himself look better. He's making himself look more and more foolish and stupid. And that tells me that that's just how he is. He's just like, I'm going to go onto the Anderson Cooper. I'm going to tell that homo what's what. And nobody has control of this man, right? I mean, if you're an attorney representing Donald Sterling and you're about to go blow for blow with the NBA in court, don't you tell your client, shut the fuck up. Don't say anything. Let us handle this. You go spend your bill, go to Fiji, go to somewhere. Who cares? Go to Compton if it makes you feel better, Donald Sterling, and just go away from everybody. Leave us alone, and don't talk to people, okay? That's rule number one, because now everybody is going to record you. And you're an 83-year-old man. You have no idea what you're talking about or what you're doing, and you don't have the wherewithal to ask, are you recording this? Don't record me. You just talk to people, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. Just stop. Nobody has any PR sense anymore, and it's counterintuitive because in the age of everything, every phone has a camera. Every phone has access to the internet. Everything you do as a public figure, celebrity, politician, or otherwise, everything you do in the public is available to the public immediately. Everything. Bam, bam, bam. It's all over the place. You would think this would be the age where public relations is a booming business. Everybody should have a PR rep. Shit, I should have a PR rep. They would say, look, kill off the character of Eugene because you're going to piss a lot of people off eventually. And I'd say, no, fuck that. Eugene is Eugene, he's just, I can't fire him. He helps out the show, and it's just, sometimes he gives us some yucks. But it appears as though there are many people in the public eye who are just too dumb or too conceited to say, yes, I should probably get help in formulating and controlling this message. But Donald Sterling didn't, and Donald Sterling, you're making a fucking ass of yourself because
he's got AIDS.
You say shit like that, and you're an idiot. Now, this is from peoplepress.org. This is a study talking about characteristics of possible or theoretical 2016 presidential candidates. There was a poll put out, and a lot of people were asked about, many Americans, both on the left and right, conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican, asked about what kinds of characteristics in a potential presidential candidate would make them more likely, less likely, or wouldn't matter as far as voting for them. So if the candidate was this, would you be more or less likely to vote for them? Now, this study was conducted on April 23rd through 27. And here's the thing: there's a bunch of facets here of a theoretical candidate. Whether they served in the military, whether they're a governor, a business executive, attended a prestigious university, a woman in their 40s, evangelical Christian, Catholic, Hispanic, Washington experience, used marijuana, gay or lesbian, in their 70s, extramarital affair, never held office, and atheist. Now, the numbers are presented in a confusing way. There's 3 different categories: more likely, less likely, or wouldn't matter. And the numbers obviously all add up to 100 or close to it, because don't know responses aren't shown. But let's say, served in the military. 43% of respondents say that would make them more likely to vote for a presidential candidate. 4% of respondents said it would make them less likely, and 53% said it wouldn't matter. So about half and half. You got a 50-50 chance if you're a presidential candidate that serving in the military is good for you. And actually, from the most part, serving in the military almost or certainly cannot hurt you. It cannot hurt you to have served in the military because only 4% of respondents said that it would make them less likely to vote for you, which would, across the aggregate, make it result in less votes. Same thing with a governor. With a governorship, you are certainly, that certainly helps your cause. And as you go down the list of things, the percentage of people that said they would be more likely to vote for you if this shrinks pretty quickly compared to whether it would make them less likely to vote for them. So, for instance, being a Catholic, 9% of respondents said it would be more likely, they would make it more likely to vote. 8% said they would be less likely. 81% said it wouldn't matter. So you're just kind of eking out a victory when you're talking about being a Catholic. When you're talking about being an evangelical Christian, 21% of respondents said it would be more likely, 17% less likely, 58% wouldn't matter. Here's the kicker, okay? If the potential presidential candidate was atheist, 5% of respondents said they would be more likely to vote for that candidate. 53% of respondents said they would be less likely to vote for that candidate. 41% wouldn't matter. It would be, if you're an atheist, in terms of the respondents to this, which, I'm going to say the American people. I'm going to say the American populace, even though I'm just basing this off of this study, which isn't everybody in America, obviously. Probably only a couple thousand people. But by way of these couple thousand people, it appears as though if you are a presidential candidate in America, you have about as much chance. You are preferred as an atheist just as much as somebody who has never held political office for the presidency of the United States. So if there's a guy like, hey, I've never held office in any form of government whatsoever, vote for me, that guy is just as preferred as the guy who may have held office elsewhere or whatever, the same guy who but just says, hey, I'm an atheist. Here's the American people, the respondents to this test, would prefer an evangelical Christian candidate who had an extramarital affair. Okay? All right? Here's the thing. They would prefer an evangelical Christian candidate who had an extramarital affair over an atheist. So if you're an evangelical Christian, I looked it up in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Evangelical, of or relating to a Christian sect or group that stresses the authority of the Bible, the importance of believing that Jesus Christ saved you personally from sin or hell, and the preaching of those beliefs to other people. Okay? Pretty much a fundamentalist Christian. A fundamentalist Christian who says, yeah, I cheated on my wife, but Jesus saved me, would be preferred to an atheist, to a guy who just says, yeah, I don't believe in that, thing. I don't believe in that fairy tale. I've got other things to say, foreign policy, domestic policy, economic policy, all this stuff. We're all the same on that, but they believe hardcore in that man in the sky and preaching their beliefs to other people. And they believe the Bible is authoritarian, and they believe the word of the Bible is literal, or pretty much literal. Literal when it helps them, figurative when it doesn't. Funny how that works. But they've cheated on their wife. But they're okay. But I just don't believe in the man in the sky. Can we talk about real political issues? Here's my problem with it, is that, and this came up in the last election, or in the Republican race, when there was a quote from, I believe, Newt Gingrich. Newt. Oh God, I'm saying that's totally wrong. I got to look it up now. Newt Newt Gingrich. There it is. Whew, ugh. Almost dyslexic in how I mispronounce that. Anyway, Newt Gingrich there was a quote where he says, "How could I trust you with nuclear weapons if you don't believe in God?" And my problem is that I long ago made peace with the fact that the majority of people are just dumb. I'm dumb. Everybody's dumb. We're all dumb. We say and do stupid things. But when a study, again, not representative of the whole, only probably a couple thousand people, but probably more representative than you would want it to than you would want to think. When people would be, when simply saying, "I don't believe this," I don't believe in this religious thing, disqualifies you from holding political office, disqualifies you from the presidency in the minds of Americans, I'm shocked and appalled. And I'm not really shocked and appalled because I knew that stupid shit would crop up, but it's just, son of a bitch, man. Why are we still so tied to religion? Why does it fucking matter that the guy who's going to have his finger on the button, do we send troops over there, or do we domesticate it? Do we fix the schools, and do we fix the road system? How do we fix the economy? What the fuck does any of that have to do, whether you believe in a bullshit man in the sky? What the hell? And people ask, why do you take shots at religion all the time? Well, first of all, I don't take shots at religion all the time. I only take shots at religion when people say stupid shit about religion, i.e. the Pope saying that he would baptize fucking aliens. Fuck you, Pope. Shut up. Don't speak for humanity when aliens show up. No. So when people speak about religion, I will respond. And I'll take drive-by shots because it's funny and it's my show, fuck you. But if people wonder why there are atheists who are not necessarily combative, because I'm not the kind of atheist, if you say, God bless you, or if you say, I'm praying for you, I'm not going to fly off the handle at you. I understand I can live in a world where other people believe in God, and that's totally cool. And I can live in a world where other people who believe in God pray for me, and that's okay. Because to me, it's not about the God thing. It's about that you're thinking about me and you're wishing me well. That's how I view it, and I'm not going to fly off the handle. Well, keep your God to yourself, motherfucker. Blah. I'm not going to draw down on you because you say I'll pray for you or I pray this or whatever. I'm not going to do that. However, when people start saying explicitly or implicitly through this study that the very fact of being atheist disqualifies you more from the presidency than an evangelical Christian who had an extramarital affair, then I say, this is why people get combative. This is why can't atheists just exist? Because atheists for millennia have been stifled, have been viewed as second-class citizens by the religious powers that be. That's why if you want to call them militant atheists, that's why there are militant atheists. Because the stupid still can't separate their religion from their governance. The stupid still say, well, I'm going to oppress these people, but I'm going to say that I'm hating the sin and not the sinner. I'm oppressing the sin, not the sinner. Even though I'm oppressing the sinner, it's all okay because I say it's just about the sin. It's all okay because I'm going to I actively dislike atheists, people who just say, no, I don't believe that. And I'm going to say, well, you can't create decent fiscal policy. You can't do any of that. What in the fuck does the presidency have to do with God? That's my question. Because there seems to be a whole lot of religion still tied up in voting for somebody that isn't going to do anything religious. Okay? You're not voting on the Pope. If the vote for Pope were public, then whether the Pope was Catholic is kind of a big deal. And certainly reasonable. Like, hey, are you Catholic? It's like, no. I don't believe in God. Well, what the fuck do you want to be Pope for? I'm not voting for you because it's a religious position. The presidency is not a religious position. Stop it. We need to stop allowing people to tie up religion in things that it has no place. This isn't the kind of militant atheism that where, get in God we trust off the dollar bills in my wallet, or get, under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, or get your nativity scene off of the public, off of the city hall lawn. No, fuck that. Have your in God we trust, because I get that there's a meaning behind that doesn't necessarily mean Christian God. I can make peace with that. Other idiot militant atheists can't. But stop trying to make the presidency a religious post. Stop pretending and stop allowing people to say, well, I'm going to vote for this guy because he believes in the same voodoo that I do. It's just, instead of play a little game with me, whether you're a Christian, atheist, whatever. Whenever somebody's talking about voting for somebody because of their religion, whenever they say Christianity or Catholic or Protestant or Muslim or whatever, replace it with voodoo. Replace the Catholic Church with the voodoo church. Replace I'm a Christian with I practice voodoo. Replace Christianity or Catholicism with voodoo. And just do that. And see if it still sounds not stupid in your head when you play that game. When some shit kicker from Alabama said, well, I'm going to vote for that guy because he believes in Christianity. Imagine he says, I'm going to vote for that guy because he practices the same voodoo and the voodoo dolls that I do. Does it still sound okay? Are you still going to not think, at least inwardly, man, that guy's fucking stupid. This guy has a role in governing, in deciding this country and deciding for this country? That's stupid. Please, American people, believe what you want. Practice your religion and express your religious beliefs, and they're protected. No problem with that. But stop treating the president, stop treating politics, stop rolling up religion into that. Stop it. And what's more, don't say, I am not going to accept an atheist as a president. Because that's just as prejudiced as you believe militant atheists to be. Why do you got to attack my religion? Well, when you say this guy would not be a good president because he doesn't believe in God, that's just a little bit prejudiced too. Yeah, baby, let's bring it home. Lefty Show, another successful episode, number 17. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for liking and favoriting on YouTube, subscribing there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at Lefty643. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show, and thank you to everybody continuing to share the show with your friends, your family, your co-workers, everybody you know. I greatly appreciate it. That's how the show grows, and you're certainly helping doing that. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's donating. I'mRaising.com. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. That's where you go if you want to donate to help out the show, hosting costs, general expenses, all that stuff. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. There's also a link in the description. I got to get out of here, guys. That's my time. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.
He's got AIDS.